Howdy.
Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a craft that's edible, so that'll be nice. A while ago, I started watching the Great British Baking Show. Paul Hollywood, Mary Berry, Prue Hewitt, maybe?
All the little comedian hosts and whatnot.
There was a technical challenge that stood out that I wanted to try. That was the 8-strand plaited loaf. 8-strand plaited loaf.
Paul Hollywood's How to Bake book.
So here's how it turns out. If you like the quality, keep watching. You can see how it goes. And yeah, definitely give advice or suggestions in the comments for me and for the other viewers.
Yep.
The ingredients are pretty simple.
Yeast.
This is just a container that we keep refilling with the same stuff, but the Fleischmann's active dry yeast, fast acting something, has some flour fingerprints from previous bakes.
Some regular salt.
Oh, I guarantee you that there are people that know more about this than me. There's no doubt. This works for something tasty, and you'll see how it goes and if it's worth pursuing. Oops.
The laptop with the camera is in the sink. There's also a lamp in the sink.
I hope that nothing gets fried or electrocuted.
Bread flour.
The water, which I've already measured out here, 100 milliliters, plus another 200 milliliters, has worked pretty good with this King Arthur bread flour. First time I did this recipe, plain flour, just regular all-purpose flour, that was disastrous. It was edible, it was super sticky. Last ingredient is
Olive oil. But yeah.
Now I will measure out with a scale the dry ingredients. Tell you what, doing grams is a whole lot easier than doing tablespoons and cups and... Alrighty, so I'll do salt on the bottom, 10 grams of salt.
Paul Hollywood.
Makes a big point about putting the yeast and the salt on opposite sides, but then I started still getting a mix, so I started just putting it top and bottom.
There's 10 plus a little bit. Should be done with the salt. Now bread flour, 500 grams, so 10 grams, 507 are the rest of the volume. So the readout should get to 510.
Dang, 510 on the dot. Now 7 grams, so up to 517 of yeast. Normally the yeast is kept in the freezer. I haven't really found a difference having it warm up to room temperature versus just being fresh out of the freezer, so probably some difference. But when I do this, it takes forever for it to rise. But for Paul Hollywood, that means better fermentation in the bread and a better taste. So I'm not in a hurry for it to finish.
It's not a race. I'm not in a time competition.
I'm in a taste competition.
There's 517.
So sometimes I just put the liquids right in. I reread the instruction in preparation for doing this little video, and it says mix it up thoroughly before adding it, so I'm going to do that silicone spatula thing in a bowl. I don't know. Is it mixed? It's hard to tell. Whatever. I do like doing it by hand instead of in a mixer, though. I feel like there's way more control. Something like a tablespoon and a half. But in masterclass, he's like, oh yeah, just put a little bit of oil in. And I just put a little bit of oil in like that. I'm going to knead it with oil, so it's going to get oily. And I'm okay with that. So I got my oil in, and I'll do my 200 milliliters of water. And I'm going to hold back the other 100 just to give it a chance to get mostly incorporated. Cue the fast forward. So you can see, this is kind of a stringy, thin structure that it tends to get to with that first batch of 100 or 200 milliliters of water. Just tap water. So then I'll put in, probably just use some of the water here to start. Alright, you can see it's got a little bit of dry to wet spots, but I'll knead that in just a second. Knead it by hand. Looking for
silky, stretchy dough.
Coming out of the knead before I put it to prove. One good tip that Paul's got is use olive oil instead of flour when you're still mixing the dough, so you don't get it too dry. Sticky dough is not too bad. And then I'll use a dough scraper thing, or just this guy to scrape it up off the counter if it starts getting sticky.
I'll tip it out now into some olive oil.
Just tip it out into some oil, get the sides coated a little bit, and start working it. Cue the fast forward. getting close. It's pretty smooth.
I like it not to just tear straight away, but to stretch a bit.
So, a little bit more. At this point, I think I'm roughly at like 4 minutes. You recommend 5 to 10? Even closer. I got an itch. Re-sanitize the finger. Don't worry, this is not for sale. I do not work in a bakery. At worst, I will eat some of my skin cells. Which I think I would do no matter what, but itch the back of my head. It's definitely getting way more of a mass.
It almost wants to stay a ball.
It's getting a little bit sticky.
Alright, kneading is done. I think I hit like the 9-minute mark with a couple breaks for talking.
Round it off, and put a little bit of oil back in the bowl. Get some plastic wrap. Cover it so it doesn't get drafty. Place it here.
It is 10:49 a.m. We'll be back.
Alrighty, so that is 1:21 p.m. So let's see.
2.5 hours. Pretty good rise to it.
I got some all-purpose flour, just regular flour, for doing this little bit of kneading. Freezes up. So, got my dough knife. You can use a knife, you can use that spatula, use whatever you want. We're going to split it into 8 approximately even chunks. Oh no! There's a bubble in there.
This is the hardest part of the whole process, in my mind.
Alright, they're all rolled out roughly to where I want them. Obviously you can see long, medium, but this one's thick. I'll stretch it out as I get it laid out. Pretty much you just want to anchor one side and work out from there. So, it's platted out. A little bit of inconsistencies. Had one that was kind of sucky. I got kind of real neck down. This one's kind of big, but Paul shows to pinch it off and snap it. And then I use those actually. So if you squeeze it, it gets to the point where then it starts sucking in. And you just pop it apart. And then I'll touch up the end. Do it with this other end too. And usually, the starting end will turn into one roll for me. And the other end will turn into 2. So there's that. I think traditionally you're supposed to put it in a big plastic sack. I don't have any of those for this purpose. It does stick a little bit on the inside. It might impede the rising ever so little or a lot, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really use much of the flour, so it don't take a whole lot of flour to do the little bit of kneading after the first rise and to do the rolling out to the strains. It has been about an hour and 40 minutes or so, like a little bit longer than I normally would have. I've got it preheating, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, no fan.
Do a little stabby stabby.
Alright, I'll put it in the oven. Wish us luck. Alright, the timer dinged a couple of times. I put it in for I think 24 minutes, and then like 4 minutes, and like 3 minutes, then like another half a minute or so. Got a cooling rack out. Ow. So that's what it kind of looks like.
Could have gotten a little bit darker. These guys are feeling pretty good. Or not feeling, looking pretty good for the color. So, alright, had to turn the oven off. I know that's not how you use a cooling rack.
Laptop in the sink, I told you. So, I'll let it cool down a little bit, and then I'll cut it open and let you see the inside. It's steaming hot right now, so it's cooled down for about, 10-15 minutes. Alright, moment of truth. So, pretty good structure, fully baked, decent crust on the bottom. Could have got a little bit more color on the outside, I would say. But yeah.
Time for a taste test.
Here, I'll give it a taste. Nah, well, it's okay. Just kidding, it's delicious.
It'd be better with butter though. That was a lot of butter.
I do wonder though, if there's ever been a cooking show where the people don't like what they made. Kids eat it, adults eat it, elderly adults have eaten it. Thank you, Paul Hollywood.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Crafting bread. But yeah. Till next time. Bye.